Hi, my name's Nathan. This is a Moog Matriarch, although that's not really what we're talking about today at all, so this seems a bit unnecessary. You see, today I'd like to talk about the opposite of hardware, which, of course, we all know is Elon Musk. So go ahead and grab your Dr. Pepper Zero with cream soda, which it's not a sponsor of the program, it's just something you get really excited about when you're in your mid-30s. It's good. And let's talk a little bit about DAWs, digital audio workstations. You see, in 2014, I was just your typical classically trained pianist and organist who wanted to get into film scoring. I know that's a story you've heard a million times. But I had no idea how to make that happen. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Nathan, you mean you don't know how to meet directors or network or get your music out there to people so that they can hear it and want you to score their film or even care that you exist at all? No. I mean, I actually had no idea how the process worked of scoring music to picture in 2014. Okay, so I'm going to write some notes here on this page, and you'll like it, and you'll put it in your film, right? You'll make all that happen. Like, there are people who are hired to do all the other stuff. All I have to do is write the notes with this pencil and paper. Hello? So it was at this point that I began to do a little research on my own into this witchcraft known as making music with computers. And it was the first time that I ever heard or read the word DAW, or is it DAW? I still don't know. Linda! Yeah, is it DAW or DAW? There's no one here. After doing a little more research, I landed on Cubase as my very first DAW. I still don't regret that choice because I feel like Cubase still does a really great job of balancing innovative features and constant updates with the more linear, traditional feel of DAW like Pro Tools, which is kind of the industry standard to this day. I still use it for all my scoring work because, I can get into this later, scoring to picture, not exactly a strong suit of Ableton. Fast forward to early 2020, I've made several albums, recorded a few film scores in Cubase, and I'm starting to feel pretty good about myself and like it might be time to take that extra step. You see, I've had a few tracks that people have actually listened to and seem to like, and people are responding well to my music. So, seems like the logical time, 2020 is going to be the year I take this show on the road and finally do some live gigs. Yes! Even though things didn't go quite the way I or anyone else had planned for 2020, this mini tour that never was led me to download Ableton Live and give it a shot. I mean, that seemed like the application to use for playing live. I mean, look, it says live. It's right there. And don't tell Cubase, but I actually really started to like it. Like a lot. Not for playing live, because, that was illegal. So let's talk about some of the things that I prefer when it comes to Ableton Live. The ease of routing and grouping is really, really powerful. So let's say I wanted to add as many audio tracks as I want here. I could very quickly and easily group these just by selecting Shift select those and Control G. Boom, they are all routed into a subgroup right here, which is not only in its own folder, which in Cubase folders and buses or groups are like two separate things you have to set up independently and they act in different ways. In Ableton, everything's kind of tied together in a way that makes sense both visually and in terms of routing, and I love that. So now we have all of the tracks that are under this group together being sent out to the master in their own bus, which I can then affect. I can put any number of EQs, whatever, on this whole group. It's awesome. If I want to take anything out of a group, I can quickly snap it out. It's then taken out of that routing. Now, as I say this, I can actually feel some of you typing, actually, you can do all of this in Cubase and it's just as easy or easier because you can just set up, a template however you want. So maybe you should do that instead. You could do those things. And while that is a valid point, despite the passive-aggressive tone that is conducive to YouTube comments, what I love is starting with a blank slate. And the faster I can get to a grouping routing system that makes sense both visually and in terms of the way I want to bust things, being able to do that on the fly is so valuable to me. So if I wanted to create some more groups, let's say I wanted to take this one out of this group, I could just drag it back down, create a group here, boom, create another group here, there you go. Let's make all of these the same. Let's change this to this putrid green color like so. Make everything the same color for visual reference. We can collapse all of them, and yeah, very quickly we have a well-organized project. In general, I'd say the way that the plugins are laid out here at the bottom, where you can see the whole chain kind of in a linear way, it's very visual. It's easy to see how things interact with each other. And that kind of leads me into my next point, which is probably my absolute favorite thing about Ableton. Again, I know there are other DAWs that do this. I think Bitwig is an example of one, but this is a modular synth, a modular DAW. We've got LFOs in here that we can drag and drop, and I can pretty much send this LFO to anything. Like that makes no sense. Why would you do that? But I can do it if I want to, just like modular. There's also a quick, easy workaround. Say I had a third-party plugin like every ambient artist favorite, Black Hole, and you can select which controls you want to appear in this configure window. Then I can also, let's change this, let's slow this down and change it to, let's say, random sample and hold. I'm going to speed it back up for that actually. And then I could send it to the feedback. And there you see that we are jumping around in a sample and hold type fashion. Yeah, that's really great. Like, think of the possibilities that that opens up. Not only LFOs, but envelope followers. There's one right there. So this would listen to the audio signal, the audio level of this channel, whatever channel it's placed on, and would send that as an envelope to any of these parameters. So think about that for like side chaining and things like that. It really opens things up in ways that maybe you wouldn't think about in the box. I haven't even touched on Max for Live, which is this incredible open source network of creators who create incredible things for Ableton. So here I've got Modulators 21 by K Devices, and it's just a set of really interesting LFOs and sequencers that do things in weird ways. That's really awesome. So yeah, if you are using Live and you have not looked into Max for Live devices, definitely do that because, man, there's also, let's see, I may have to put this on a MIDI track. Yeah, Mod Snake. It's like a Make Noise Renee style sequencer. Here, why don't I get some sound going through this? Maybe that would make a little bit more sense. So I'm going to grab Contact. This is a nice patch. This is one of my sample packs. It's a free sample pack that I made, Rev2 resonant filter patch that you can grab. First link in the description. Why don't we say that? And that sounds like this. I can set a certain range, I believe, for the randomization. Of course, you can quantize it over here. Let's say Phrygian. For the sake of making that patch that I'm giving you for free sound good, let's just pump it through a reverb. By the way, your reverb sends are right here. Very quick and easy, so you have each reverb or send effect on its own channel down here. You can insert a new one by hitting Insert Return Track. Then I could set up, let's say, Echo Boy, and I can then send that to... Let's slow this down. Add a little black hole. I think one of the main draws to Live is probably the session view, which we've been in arrangement mode, which is honestly what I use the most because I'm accustomed to Cubase and the linear timeline style workflow. But Session View is really incredible because you can basically compose loops and you can determine how these clips interact with each other. Through doing that, you can basically compose an entire whatever track without ever pressing stop. You can just have the sequencer running all the time and just compose loops on the fly, arrange them. So it's like a looping playback beast, and is really great for playing live for that very reason. Not that I would know. So yeah, I have absolutely loved using Ableton Live just in my own creative work. I find it really inspiring, the workflow really good. The built-in effects, I haven't even touched on the incredible like FM and resonator synthesizers that just come prepackaged with the Live suite. It's kind of crazy. Everything sounds great, everything works really well. I used to have a Push 2, which is a great hardware controller for Ableton. I did sell that because I found myself not really using it enough to warrant owning it, so I did let that go. But yeah, I'm just having a great time with Ableton since I started using it, and it's really my primary DAW now. I do still use Cubase for the film stuff, as I mentioned, but yeah, this just creatively much more inspiring to me right now at this point in my life, so it's what I like to use. Hey, thanks so much for watching the video. If you got anything out of it at all, appreciate a thumbs up, ring the bell, subscribe, all those things that I hate saying. And you know, honestly, I shot this right after the intro, so I really hope it was good.